Using the white charcoal, look for the lightest areas, so the brightest highlights on your portrait. And I'm just slowly building up the layers there, so continuing to add more with the charcoal, blending it as you go to continue to fade out the lightest areas into the medium tones and the shadows. And then it works well going back and forth with the black charcoal to start to bring in some of the darkest shadows once you have those lighter areas built in. So work back and forth as much as you can to bring in highlights and shadows and just slowly build up the areas of your portrait. So don't just do a lot of detail around the eye, but really move around. So look for all the areas with the lightest highlights and start to build those up and go over those areas versus again just having one small area of detail and then realizing that you may be messed up or need to erase part of it. So try your best to move around the portrait. Especially with the hair, look for the shadows and the highlights in blocks or chunks versus all of the details at once. The top layer that you go over with, you can start to add some of the details with the hair, but again, it helps to really look for the simple shapes and forms that you can outline with highlights and shadows and fill those in. If you're doing hatching or cross hatching, you're going to want to really follow the form as well to make that portrait three-dimensional. So here's an example of that where I'm going in a little bit with hatching and cross hatching to emphasize the form of the face. So you can see the lines are going out and around in the different areas that will stick out the furthest to the viewer. Also, every once in a while, try to flip the paper in the picture upside down to help you see things from a different perspective. Even though you traced everything, some of the proportions might get a little bit off as you start outlining or filling areas in and smudging it. So every once in a while, again, flip those papers upside down so you can see everything in a different way and try to make any corrections that you can when it's upside down. And then flip it right side up and you'll see even more jump out at you that you can go back in and fix as you're working.